Are you going to join the meeting that we have at 1:30?
If there's need, yeah, I will join. Today I'm home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it'll be probably a short one,
Okay.
just to check in.
Sure.
So hopefully some folks come to this meeting. I'm trying to think of who I invited to speak on this one. Don't remember. I see Mary, I think. Mary Rabago personal phone.
It's
That's
me.
good.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. I see Dave is here too, and Roberto is here. Welcome, welcome all. Our last event before Easter.
How's the weather in Phoenix, Doug?
It's a little, it's got a marine layer going on, so it's a little bit cooler and cloudier than normal.
It's been raining and pouring since this morning at 8.
Okay. Yeah, it looks a little stormy.
Yeah.
Yesterday it was sunny, so you must be getting a different weather pattern than us.
Yeah.
If
you're a duck, it's a great weather.
Weren't you saying the other day there was snow there recently?
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
2 days, okay. Because I think it was Demetrius in Chicago, might have been today, where she said it was either about to snow or snowing in Chicago. So
yeah, this year the patterns here in Sedona has been strange. In mid-February, it almost looked like spring. And it was good and great for 75, 80 degrees. And then it came back, and then it's back and forth. So can't put away the blankets on the bed yet.
actually, that's almost exactly what Demetra said. She said something like, in Chicago, you always keep all of your clothes out. Which you kind of do in Phoenix too, except they're all short sleeve shirts, sort of.
That's true. That's true.
I almost never got to wear my winter coat, but you do in Sedona, so that's a different story.
Oh yeah. When I take my dog in the morning and he's about 22 degrees, trust me, you gotta have multiple covers.
I'm gonna. It's at 12 o'clock, so we're gonna get going here in a moment. Let's see if I can find how to record this one. Oh, no, it's already recording. Okay. I think I started it by accident. So, how are you doing, Mike?
Great. Thank you. You, Doug? Doing good?
Yep, doing well. Just getting ready for the weekend. Let's see, what did I do here? Okay, something about AI I just did. Okay. Okay, now I'm back. Yeah, let's I suggest we get going, given that the holiday, and I was trying to think whether I had asked anybody to speak today, and let me see, actually, I think I put an agenda up somewhere. Let me see. Let's see. Been to too many meetings today, I think. Let's see what we got. Here we go. Spotlight topics, member roundtable, upcoming, Representative Stanton and Governor Hobbs. Welcome to Phoenix, Scottsdale Jazz Festival. Okay. So I'd like to start. Good afternoon here in Phoenix. My name is Doug Brunke. I'm the founder and CEO of Global Chamber. And this is our monthly meetup. It's intended to be what's going on globally in Arizona and wow, there's a lot going on globally. And trying to contrast it with 10 years ago, it's like night and day. There's nothing like Phoenix, particularly 10 years or so ago, compared to today, regarding the diversity of business, regarding the amount of international business, the platform for business, and the solidified economy of Arizona is just really encouraging. And so I'd like to start, if you don't mind, with Mike Patterson, because Mike has been such a strong proponent for the community for Arizona for so long. He was at our opening 10 years ago in City Hall, where Mayor Stanton introduced a global chamber. So thank you, Mike. There might have been maybe a couple of you there, but I certainly remember you and Melissa Sanderson were there. And of course, Greg Stanton, just amazing supporter as well. Even back in those days, you were so positive about being more global, you were already connected to Mexico, and you've become such a global icon in Arizona. What are you seeing in the community right now, and are there some opportunities we should know about? And is there any help that you need regarding some of the work that you're doing?
Thank you. There's a lot going on. Obviously, the tariffs is still a bouncing ball. We're, even, 90 days off. That'll be back in 90 days, or there may be additional tariffs announced in the meantime. I just am like everybody else. I'm watching news every day and talking to I have 3 law firms I'm working with who are tariff experts, from Melissa Proctor to others. And we're working through both the 2 phases, both the political side. We've got some contacts, but also people are changing their classifications and things like that. So that's one thing. Another thing, they're working with a number of companies who are inbound to the U.S. to set up their branches here. I'm this coming Monday night, the America's Aerospace cluster. My client Kinetics is speaking on their 40 satellites that they're throwing up for what's called Earth Observation, North Star. If you wanted to join us here at Spencer Payne, send me or Joanna, and I'll get you connected to that. It can be virtual, but they like them in person because they want the aerospace community to network. That's 5:30 Monday night. I'm really excited about your event with Representative Stanton this coming week. Mayor Kate is being reinaugurated on Monday. It's at the Orpheum Theater. Then let's see. I'm presenting with you at the Global Chamber, your legal group. I went to one of theirs, but I'm presenting on global distribution agreements. That's next Friday at I believe, let's see, 9:30 Phoenix time.
Cool.
That's with your group. I'm working. I yesterday saw a robotics vertical farming out in Avondale with Paul Brierly from the head of the State Department of Agriculture, and my client Arizona Fresh, which is kicking off. They're doing a last round of funding, and that's going to kick off very quickly as well. The Arizona Fresh group. There's an Israeli mental health group delegation coming inbound to GPEC and Brian Ellerman at the Phoenix BioCore. That is 11:30 on Monday the 5th. They'll be in town for a couple of days, and then I'm hosting them at my office. If anybody wants to come, 4:30 on Tuesday the 6th. That's a delegation again from Israel. let's see, a little further out, I guess, that's kind of what's headed up, coming quickly.
What happened to that Israel group, that fellow, I think it was Lieb, someone? Is he
Yeah.
still around?
Oh, yeah. Labe is, he's out in Scottsdale, and he has a venture capital group
Okay.
that invests. They're an association of Israeli technology companies, largely inbound, but Labe Bolel out in Scottsdale, still very, very active, has his
Okay.
own deals, that he's doing, many frequently. So yes, very active. The Global Ties on May the 1st, I think it is doing their China town hall. I think you've probably been invited to that as well, and that's going to include our former congressman from ASU,
Pat Salmon.
Matt Salmon, who's the only Chinese. When we lost him in the Congress, he was the only person that spoke Chinese, and which I think was a shame, because his level of understanding was pretty pretty deep, and I think sometimes it's a shame when we don't have that level of expertise in the Congress, but
Doug,
he's still around with us. So
Doug,
Steve Zylstra, how are you?
I'm good. Just an update on LABE. I helped LABE create the Arizona Israel Technology Alliance a
there
number
you
of
go.
years ago. And LABE hasn't focused on that so much in the last couple of years because, as Mike said, he joined the Greyhawk group, venture capital group, and so he's been doing venture capital now for a number of years. And Matt, when in 2011 to 2012, the Tech Council did trade missions to China, and on one of those trips, Matt Salmon went with us, and he can speak fluent Mandarin, so it was nice to have him on the trip as a translator.
He's amazing. Unfortunately, he's on our advisory board. Not that that's unfortunate. That's very fortunate. Unfortunately, though, he will not be there on Thursday. He's going to be in Washington, D.C. So we're going to miss out, but we have a backup ASU speaker to be able to cover some of the global activity. As I think probably all of you know, he's now kind of representing, or certainly involved with, a lot of different international activities at ASU, and a lot of it is related to the China work. Does anybody have any questions for Mike, or anything else to add, like Steve has done?
I have a question, Michael. Last time we met online, probably a few weeks ago, you were in dire strait for a client that was real difficulty in the automotive industry. Have you ever resolved that situation?
Well, there was not a total result. There's 3 levels of tariffs that are applying to the automotive industry. Some have been put off temporarily. However, that has not been resolved completely for either Detroit or the entire industry. It is basically, if those tariffs stick on the automotive industry, it's not a matter of everybody's shooting letters back and forth about force majeure, and if you still want my auto part in the supply chain, you're going to have to take it. Well, then you'll be in breach. Well, we're in force majeure. Well, then I'll be out of business, and where are you going to get your parts? It's kind of the thing. And that's kind of the discussion that's going back and forth. So it has not been resolved. I don't think that the automotive industry can survive with a tariff on it. It'll survive. People need automobiles, but I don't think this will be the result where the bouncing ball is. Steve may want to comment there too. It's we're helping clients, and yet This has not been we've not come to a final resolution.
Yeah, the automotive industry is going to be affected in a whole range of ways. First of all, automobiles are made of steel and aluminum primarily, along with plastic and semiconductors. So the cost of automobiles is going to be driven up very high. Think about Lucid Motors, who moved their manufacturing operations to Arizona. They came here for a few reasons. You know, we've got a good business climate, available land, great workforce, but the proximity to the Mexican supply chain of the automotive industry there was one of the prominent reasons. And they are very, very, very concerned. You may or may not know that Americans have been producing automobiles in Mexico since 1921. Henry Ford made Model Ts in Mexico City. GM and Chrysler came in the 30s, and then the international automotive manufacturers essentially came in the 60s. And so this idea that they're going to have to pay tariffs every time a part goes back and forth across the border is going to have a profound effect on that company. In addition to that, I just wrote an article on the impact that tariffs are going to have on our battery manufacturers. We have 3 of them, including Scion, LG, and American Battery Factory. And the export controls that the Chinese have now put on many of the materials that are used in battery manufacturing, including nickel, cobalt, lithium, graphite, and manganese, and so on, are going to have a chilling effect on the battery industry. And that will affect not only the automotive industry, but it will affect the utilities because they're using batteries much more often now as it relates to energy storage from wind and solar. And like Mike, my life is essentially all around tariffs right now. I just got off with Cisco Mani's office. I'm doing a tour through a member company with Senator Kelly next week. We'll be meeting again with Cisco Mani in Tucson next week. I think I've done 4 interviews, including with Bloomberg. I did a press conference with Senator Kelly. It's just tariffs, tariffs, tariffs because of the dramatic impact that they're going to have on virtually every one of my members.
Yeah, I had the same problem, Stephen. I'm bringing 3 clients in the medical industry to the U.S. And, you know, most of the manufacturing was in China. So obviously today they can get the stuff in China. So we're desperate to look around the world. We're looking at free trade zones. We're looking at bringing products here to assemble in a free trade zone and see if we can get some recovery that way. But you know, the thing changes every day. So you know, long term doesn't exist anymore. Right now it's short term.
So interestingly enough, all those materials that I just mentioned that are used in batteries also exist here, by the way. There's a lot of it in Canada and Mexico. The problem is almost all the refining goes on in China, right? So even if we mine it here, it still gets shipped to China to be refined. And, you know, we haven't built any smelters in this country in a long time. So there is an opportunity in the longer term there, right, to bring a lot of that back to the U.S. But in the short term, it's going to be incredibly disruptive. And
Yeah, when I was working with the Lincoln Electric Company back in Cleveland, I was a chief scientist. We had a lot of smelting facilities just for the purpose of the products that we needed to find, but they have closed ever since. So you're right. It's just about it's gonna be a challenge. Definitely a challenge.
I think Joanne you're on the call, right? Joanna Moore, is that you? How is this impacting the aerospace industry? Are you able to chat? Joanna? Oh, that's okay.
By the way, I'll just say that helicopters, missiles, and rockets are made out of steel and aluminum. All right.
And can I add, as are satellites, and Jell Stockestad from Kinetics again is going to speak Monday night, 5:30. And Joanna didn't pop up there when invited, but she would be happy for you to join us on Monday night if you'd like and hear about.
I am here. Sorry, I couldn't get off mute. This is Joanna Moore. Yes, Monday night we have an event, but and everybody's invited. You are sponsoring it. Thank you for that. Going back to the question, yes, aerospace industry is very much affected. I mean, it's every single part, and it's chaos. It's a huge chaos. So the parts are going to be more expensive, and then the aircraft are going to be more expensive, right? So similar to the car industry, aerospace industry is very much affected, and the contracts are long-term contracts. So now looking for a new supplier and arranging the contracts or rewriting the contracts, it's just a huge mess. And it's ongoing process similar to the car industry. It's really chaos. So yeah, we are very much involved in it as well, trying to find backup suppliers, but it's not as easy in aerospace because this is a 10, 20 years relationship between Boeing company and tier 1, 2, 3 suppliers. Now changing it because of pricing is just a huge mess.
I'm curious, Stephen, is there any conversation about bringing in smelters and metal processors to Arizona? Because we all know all of that is a great need, and it takes between 5 to 10 years to set those up. Is there any conversation along those lines, trying to bring in those type of support of the supply chain for those industries?
So, as you know, a lot of the reason they don't exist here anymore is because we have laws around air pollution, water pollution, all those kinds of things, and it's expensive to operate those kinds of facilities in the United States. Whether the likes of Resolution Copper or Freeport McMoran or South 32 or Cactus Mine or any of those mines or companies are thinking about bringing smelters here, I haven't heard that. Now, obviously, people are talking about all kinds of things right now because of what's happening. So I would think that those kinds of discussions are going on. But because things change every day, they're on, they're off, they're on, they're off. People aren't going to make any plans to do anything. What I find is that my members are absolutely locking down. They're not hiring, they quit hiring, they're not investing because they have no idea what the future's going to bring at this point. I think a lot of them are hoping that after a few months, some of this will settle out and they'll have a clearer picture of what the future might bring, but nobody's making any decisions about anything right now.
Yeah, it's a holding position. Yeah, I think I've seen a lot of what Mike was mentioning, that people want to get around the tariffs, trying to get reclassification of their raw materials, or trying to use a third party to to go around the tariffs in the US, and that creates a lot of legal issues. But I don't really see anybody really talking about real solutions because all the supply chains, once you move part of it, you still end up relying on China.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, aerospace is a big difference because they usually, well, other than the metals, aluminums, but all the rest of the consumer goods and automotive and a lot of other stuff, you're still back with China. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, in aerospace, we don't have much China, but you have
right.
Europe, you have Canada, you have Mexico, and everybody else, right? And Russia, the whatever, right? For
Mark,
titanium.
Steve, yeah,
Mark Cohen, did you have something?
I would love to jump in there. Steve, thank you so much for your insight of what you just said and how you were talking about Matt and Mike and so forth. 40 years doing trading and stuff like that in China and doing things with the clothing industry and starting out, being one of the first ones in the apparel industry 40 years ago. We're at a standstill right now. The best advice you gave everybody was what you said right now. I don't think anybody's going to be doing much right now. We're on a holding pattern right now. And I think that strategically, we're all in a play right now to find solutions, of course, for everybody. But that was the best advice you gave just now a couple minutes ago, Steve. I agree with you 100%.
Thank you.
Thanks for your comments. Eduardo, did you have anything else to add? This morning, by the way, American Industries Group was on our League of Opportunities call. So they were talking about attracting companies to Mexico and manufacturing. And he did say, the things from China are definitely on hold. They're having conversations, but kind of it goes back to like, what do you do? And
Right.
what are the rules going to be? Is USMCA going to be able to protect foreign companies that are manufacturing in China? What are some of the things that you're seeing on the Mexico side of things?
Well, I'm seeing the trend again to look at Mexico as an option. It's a similar trend as we saw when the disruption happened with COVID, where the containers went from $1,200 to almost $60,000 from China. So everybody was scrambling to replace their suppliers in Mexico. So I think we're starting to see that again. Unfortunately, most of those people operate with very low margins and very dependable on Chinese supply chain. So Mexico is a great option for labor cost and logistics and protection to your IP. And of course, it's a very interesting market also. But nothing like that helps much if you're still back to square one, where you need to rely on suppliers from China. So it's really difficult. A lot of lighting companies, for example, they have LED lights or solar panels. Yeah, the only source for that is China. Yeah, I mean, Mexico is right now, there's a lot of demand for manufacturing and also a lot of demand on the industrial parks. All the northern part of Mexico, I think, is 100% occupied. They cannot build them fast enough. So big companies, they have a lot of leverage with their suppliers. So those can take a great advantage of Mexico, but medium-sized companies, smaller companies, they're highly dependent on their suppliers. They don't have much leverage. So what I'm seeing in Mexico is a lot of demand for and a lot of interest in the country. Unfortunately, not that many can take advantage of it. Let me put it that way.
Eduardo, the question, I have a client back in San Diego, an engineering group that manufactures valves for gas turbines, and they use magnets, rare earth magnets, which of course they cannot get today. And their business is basically to a halt. Is there anywhere in Mexico, anywhere in the world where you can actually find some rare earth magnets?
No, I think the opportunity for engineering firms is to get talent in Mexico, to get the engineers. That's where the opportunity is to be. Actually, I'm working with an engineering firm setting up operations in Mexico because of talent. But anything related to rare earths production, I think, like Steve mentioned, everything has to be refined and probably manufacturing in Asia. There's no really, I don't know anybody doing it. I can take a look and talk to people, but I think it's not going to be
Well,
enough.
Australia used to. They still have, but most of the mines have been purchased by Chinese companies. So
One of the people who knows the answer to that is Melissa Sanderson. She'll be speaking this Thursday at the Welcome to Phoenix event that we're doing with Representative Greg Stanton. You know, she's a board director for American Rare Earths, and there is that
Awesome.
mine that's here
Awesome.
in the West. And
I'll
she's
reach
also
out.
just an expert on the industry. And by the way, one of the other things that Melissa is an expert on is the DRC. You know, as you probably know, then Phelps Dodge, now Freeport McMoran, had owned the mine there, the big copper mine that had cobalt. And what was the other material in that one? But cobalt and copper were the two big ones. And one of the first things that this new U.S. administration did was go to the DRC, which I presumed was related to the cobalt supply, you know, kind of going back to what you were talking about. I never read exactly what happened, but when I saw that there was a lot of dust being brought up at the DRC, I'm going to bet it's kind of some rare earth connection. But Melissa will be talking about that on Thursday. Obviously, a key aspect.
By the way, Doug, 90% of rare earth magnets come from China. 90%.
The raw material.
No, the magnets themselves.
So what material?
Whatever rare earth material, 90% of the rare earth magnets in the world are manufactured in China.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Right.
There
Yep.
you go. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, no, it's a dangerous game that's being played. Going back, by the way, to the smelter thing, my undergraduate thesis was the copper smelter that now Rio Tinto, then Kennecott, had at the end of the Salt Lake. If you see a tower there, it's 1,300 feet tall because I told them they needed to raise it. At the time in my college days, it was about 600 feet tall. And I put a thesis together that they needed to raise it to 1,300 so that most of it could get out of the valley. Salt Lake is a horseshoe-shaped valley. The Salt Lake is the open part of the horseshoe, and it gets stuck in there. They used to have really bad inversions in Salt Lake, and by just raising the stack height from 600 to 1,300 feet tall, it ended up most of the time getting out of the valley, along with other things they did to clean up the effluent. So there are some smelters here and there. There used to be a Phelps Dodge smelter in Y or somewhere down in that area. And sometimes those things are left on their own and just let to be. So there may be some open smelters that are here and there. I remember there was actually a uranium smelter in the middle of the Salt Lake Valley that they ended up knocking down around 55th South and State Street. And they ended up putting about a 20-foot cap of clay on top of it because it was uranium and basically radioactive. And they built the Intermountain Healthcare Center right over it. So anything is possible if you put your mind to it, I guess. But there might be some smelters here and there. It'll depend on what you're making in terms of what process equipment you're going to need for the smelter, for sure.
Doug, I think there used to be 8, and now there are 2.
In Arizona?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the Morenci mine must have one, and then Sarita. Those are the only 2 that are left. So, and those are copper smelters, so they're not going to be able to help with the rare earth side of things. We're halfway through, and so let's keep going around the room. Thank you all for coming today. Hopefully, I'll see you all on Thursday. I see some folks that I haven't seen for a while, so thank you very much for attending. Mary Rabago is here, and Mary, what are you seeing from your side of things? You get involved in some really fun activities.
Well, thank you, Doc. It's I love learning from all of you guys. So thank you for the opportunity. I think the same concern, it's across the board in all different industry. I can tell you my investments of real estate in Mexico for the Airbnbs are being impacted by the unease environment that we're having with the tariff, with the economy, with the loss of jobs, and you name it. And the impact on DI also on businesses, obviously, is affecting tremendously business like myself. I'm a marketing agency, and marketing is the first thing that goes out of the door, right? When there's cuts and chainsaws and all that. So I guess it's very interesting times, an opportunity to reinvent ourselves and to really just hoping somebody does something in this regards, right? Being at economic war with the world, it's not a place where we want to be. I'm very concerned, like most of you guys. You guys are
Mhm.
investments and collaborations on a very higher level than myself, but I know it's going to take decades for our country to go back, if things continue this way, to go back what, abundance and the right economy exchange and all that. So I love the opportunity to be listening to what's going on with the different industries that you guys represent and learn from that too. So it's just a little bit I can offer in the conversation. I know the industry of Airbnbs or traveling or investments right now is very shaky also because of the same situation.
Mary, as I think all of you know, has a very illustrious media career. She was the facilitator, the moderator at our last Women in Global Leadership event last August at SkySong, and this year's will be in August as well. Is there anything, Mary, then that we can do to help?
Well, I guess you guys are doing just by allowing me to be in this conversations and learning from what's going on in the industry and looking into the aspect that you were talking at the beginning of the conversation or presentation in regards to the automobile industry. I'm from Sonora, Mexico. As you know, there's a lot of Ford plants there. So I have family members or friends that work in that environment too. And you can imagine everything is very and la cuerda floja, as we say in Spanish, right? Shaking in many aspects. So I believe there's a true concern worldwide, not only here in the United States, of what's going on, but also I believe there's a lot of opportunity. And I think we can look at Mexico and the administration of it over there, how they're really taking advantage of the situation, for a lack of a better wording. I'm sure Eduardo can elaborate more on that, right? And looking for other opportunities and reinventing themselves also, not only depending on what's going on here. For us, then on this side of the border, I think it's the challenge is a little bit bigger, um, a little bit more complicated, but also an amazing opportunity to reinvent ourselves and to look into different types of collaborations.
Thank you. I will say the last month has been by far the busiest and most number of members, new members, and most number of renewals the Global Chamber's ever had by far. We can't keep up, and so we're hiring. And I think I go back to the old saying, any publicity is good publicity. All the publicity about global and all the conversation about global has everybody talking about it and at least doing something, at least a small amount at Global Chamber. So I'm everything there, in everything there's a gift, and so hopefully that's a gift that ultimately allows more people to be involved with global business going forward. Thank you for your comments. You mentioned real estate, and Paula, I thought was here from Portugal. Paula, how are you? You see the U.S. from your perspective on the real estate market and beyond. Did you want to add anything to the conversation about opportunities that you see from your side?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me listening, all of you. It really made me some goosebumps.
Goosebumps? Is that a
Yeah.
good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it's impressive, the things
Oh.
that are happening there. And we listen to the news, we watch the news every day, but it's very, very different to hear the people directly speaking about it, speaking what is happening on their skins. But Portugal, they all commentary, they analyze everything also, and they say that Portugal will not be that much affected by this American tariff situation. Not that much. It's not a very preoccupying situation for our producers we are exporters of a lot of things, inclusively to US, but it will not be a drama, let's say. So in real estate, we see Americans coming in, and inclusively golden visa applicants. They are starting to. They are not starting. They started some 2 years ago, looking for golden visa, Portuguese golden visa, which is not directly related to properties because the government shut that down, golden visa through property. But I think I can say that Americans are the most purchasers, the biggest purchasers in Portugal for property, for all levels of properties. And they are rising in the table of golden visa purchases also. So welcome anyone that wants to come here.
Actually, Arizona, there's a tie there because some of you know John Board, B-O-R-D, who worked for Tucson Electric, and he also was very involved in Mexico, and he lived down in Tupac. He moved to Portugal a year ago, and he's never been happier. If you follow him on Facebook, he's riding his bike across the ocean, and he's our global advisor for Portugal. And I think, have you ever met John personally?
No.
Yeah, no, okay.
Can you introduce me to him?
Yeah.
I think you did once, but
I might have.
nothing
Yeah.
happened. I don't know. Perhaps he's so happy that he didn't.
It's embarrassing because he's eating out every night with fish and fresh fish, and oh my God, he's loving it. All the stuff he couldn't do in Tucson. So thank you for
this
sharing.
Can look like a paradise, Portugal, for a lot of Americans.
He loves it. And quite honestly, it was a political thing. He was just sick of a lot of stuff and he just needed to get away. And I think we can all relate to that. Renee Meyer left long time before that. She's a Thunderbird graduate and she's Global Chambers Executive Director in Strasbourg. And Renee, I think you're coming to Arizona here soon with a medical mission. Are you able to chat and share some opportunities that you're seeing?
I am. I told my friends, today's a holiday actually here in Strasbourg. So I had friends over for a drink. I told them they had to leave because I have to talk to Phoenix at 9 o'clock. Here I am.
And they thought you were crazy.
Yeah, with a cup. No. They understood. With after a couple glasses, so I will try to speak. No, I am coming to Phoenix. Yesterday I had the opportunity to talk to people in the city of Phoenix, and I'm bringing a med tech mission in the fall, if all goes well. So I will bring around between 5 and 10 med tech companies. We will land in Chicago, plan to go to Northeast Indiana, and then we would come to Phoenix. So I want to show these companies different parts of the US that they don't necessarily know about. So they know about Boston, they know about San Francisco, they don't know about the inner part of the US where a lot is going on in medtech. And you all probably know in Phoenix that there really is a lot going on with Mayo Clinic setting up there, and ASU, all the other. She talked to me about 5 hubs that there are in Phoenix. So it's hard to keep track of everything that's going on there. just a little comment, I guess, after Paula's about European reactions. So I have to say the most I've heard here is that people are really scared that France is going to go the same direction. And I guess after Maloney's meeting the other day, we really don't know what's going on in the EU. Yeah, I'm very concerned. People tell me not to watch the news, but I have problems, and glad to learn a little bit more about your local problems. I'm very sorry that that's happening, and I wish there was some more activity that we could do. So back to my MedTech mission. If there's anyone who has ideas, who's connected to the MedTech space, I would love to talk to them and tell them, see about the message that I'm bringing and if they could contribute anything to that. Thank you, Doug.
I have some contacts.
Yeah, and I have some context too. And Renee, one of the biggest challenges right now that I know is, and I've been in contact with the FDA. The FDA just terminated something like about 3,500 employees. So for a class 2 and class 3 certifications or approval from the FDA is real difficult. We're talking about much longer time, 2 or 3 times, 4 times what it used to be. So I'll send you an email and I'll give you all the information.
Okay, so better to keep to companies that have that are class 1 then.
Yeah, class 1 or over the counter, OTC, they
Yeah.
don't need the FDA because that's
Yeah.
just they're strictly labeling. But I'll send you an email so that we can be in touch because I'm being in that environment for the past 8 to 10 years, and I do my background is science, so I do certification and regulation. So that's what I am.
Okay, great, thank you.
Also,
What are-
Renee, if we can help on the manufacturing and supply chain of medical devices in Mexico, just to shorten that delivery and lowering the cost of manufacturing, be happy to talk to you about those options.
Yes. And can I have the floor another 2 minutes, Doug, or do you have too many people?
Please go ahead.
I had a discussion last week with Milton in Mexico, and who's also, I've forgotten his last name. He's also in the medtech space, and we were thinking, do we not, global chamber wide, do we not want to try to put in motion maybe some activities where medtech companies and maybe other companies that are coming from Europe, do they maybe want to set up some operations in Mexico or in South America first and get that going and then go to the US when things are a little bit more stable? So that was a discussion that I thought we should have on a global chamber basis. I think we're going to have it with the Mexicans maybe in a couple weeks. But I'm just wondering if that couldn't be kind of a big activity for Global Chamber. I mean, we have all of the assets that we need. We have people. Is this not a way to go about to dealing with this situation? Because we can say we sit there and wait, but I mean, I have clients here. They don't want to sit and wait. But maybe it's the South American market that is ready for them, and maybe this is just the time for that. So, all of you that are linked to that market, maybe that's what we could look at.
Yeah, Mike Patterson straddles between the U.S. and South. So yeah, I think that's worthy of a conversation. Mike, any thoughts? He may have jumped off.
I'm here.
I think it's a great
I'm
idea.
here.
Oh, sorry, Mike.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was getting off of the mute there. Also, Renee, I would also say, do you know Remedy Manufacturing here in the Phoenix area, medical device manufacturing?
I do not, no.
I could connect you with them. Mayo Clinic is building out 3 million square feet of med tech.
Yeah.
And you're aware of that.
Correct.
They are trying to get a couple of medical device manufacturers in their spot, i.e. leave some space, because they're bringing in all of these bio and med tech companies who will need prototypes, who will need manufacturing, and they want Remedy in there. I'm sure they'd love for you to locate there. If you need a connection with Mayo, Eric Bopp or Dr. Lester, I'd be happy to connect you so that they can start talking to you about those connections. This is going to rapidly become a center. There's also Accelerate and XLR8 Accelerate, and then the Accelerate venture capital company here. But what I was going to say there, the Phoenix BioCore has a cohort here this week of bio companies that are manufacturing as well. If you can connect with Phoenix BioCore, Accelerate, the Mayo MedTech Accelerator, ASUs, I can help you with those connections so that you're helping to make those offerings. And then, of course, Eduardo can help you look south, and I'm willing to help you with Eduardo in conjunction with him to look south on the Mexico connection. But definitely, I think the hub is the Discovery Oasis, which you're
Yes.
aware of.
Yes, I talked to Claudia Whitehead yesterday.
Claudia?
Yes, and so she's given me some names. But I'm always happy to, to have a little bit more direct connections but you and I can talk later. I'll look you up on LinkedIn or Doug can send me your email address. We
We'll
can
get-
talk.
We'll get you connected.
Have you talked to Russ Yelton?
I
Yeah,
talked to him
Russ.
a couple of years ago. Yes, I did.
Yeah,
but I never
Russ
got
is a
back.
good one.
Yeah.
Russ would definitely be able to help her.
Yeah.
I put my email and cell phone number as the first thing in the chat today. So if you go
Okay.
in there, it's there.
Okay,
Uh,
very good. Thank you.
On Thursday, and I definitely, Eduardo and I would love everybody's help. If you know a company that's new to Phoenix, have them come out on the 24th on Thursday afternoon, 3 to 5, with Representative Stanton. This is a welcome to Phoenix. This came out of a conversation I had with the German CEO of Henkel when they located in Scottsdale. And after a couple years, remember Brad Casper was the president, an American who had lived overseas. He was happy as anything. But when the German guy came over, the expat, he was very upset with Scottsdale that he was alone and he felt left out. So I came up with this idea of having a welcome event for companies that have landed in the region. So if you know somebody who's new, have them come out, let's greet them, let's put our arms around them and welcome to Arizona as they should. So like Henkel, they don't leave eventually. I think the chances of that happening are pretty slim, but still we want happy people, right? I wanted to make sure that considering about new people, there's a person in the audience, Ryan Sakamoto, who is part of Sanyo Trading, and his first day in Arizona is on Monday. So Ryan Sakamoto-san, welcome to Arizona, and Eduardo and I are talking to him about membership actually in Global Chamber on Monday, and maybe speaking at the event on Thursday. For whatever reason, we've had Sojitz Trading Company as a member for a long time in Global Chamber, and Itochu is a relatively new member of Global Chamber, and we've been really helping them most recently. Sanyo Trading is in that same class. And so Sakamoto-san, I don't know whether you're open to just saying hi to everyone, but is Monday really your first day?
No, actually, I only arrived in Phoenix about like 1 hour ago. I'm still in the rental car center now, so I have no idea who is joining this meeting though. But I can hear you guys. Hi everybody. I'm Ryan Sakamoto from Sun Corporation America, and I used to live in Alabama until last week for 4 years, and I am excited to join to the local area for the Phoenix. And I'm willing to join to the Global Chamber as well. Let's talk with the Doug next Monday, I think.
Yep, that's it. You're a truly dedicated guy from the rental car center. You're calling. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm in the nearby restroom of a rental car center now.
Arigato gozaimashita.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Yoroshiku.
Doug, you should take a Waymo and not rent a car so you have the experience of the Waymo.
Oh, yeah, I want to take a Waymo, but, I need to have a car. So I will stay here like 2 months or 1 month until I get a lease car.
Got it. Welcome to
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yep. So let me explain my company and what I want to do in Phoenix a little bit. So my company is as Doug explained, like American company. So we do general import and export a bunch of products in various industries to the US. And recently, one of our team in Japan has a connection with the startup company in Israel. And yep, we are going to promote their new product into the US market, especially Phoenix. So that product can give you the cool temperature when it's set on late. Yep. Actually, I went to Israel 2 weeks ago in this month. It was awesome. Yep. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Do you know where your office is going to be?
I will be staying at ASU Carson campus for.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because they provide the IQ program for the startup and soft launch companies. 3 months free desk. That's why.
So as everybody here that's been involved with Global Chamber knows, that's where Global Chamber started as well. So welcome to Phoenix and welcome to SkySong. It's an amazing facility. It's the ISLE program that is a combination of ASU. I think GPEC is the other partner in that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We have about 5 minutes left, and we'll cut the program off at the top of the hour. I'd just like to open it up. I was going to go to Rutherford, but it looks like he stepped away. Does anybody have, just kind of keeping it short, any announcements or anything you'd like to share? And while I'm waiting for you to do that, I'll just give 30 seconds. Doc isn't here, but Doc Jones has the Scottsdale Jazz Festival. It's the Saturday, the 26th. And so if you don't have anything else to do on that Saturday, come on out and then spread the word. Doc has got his Facebook in full speed. Al Molina is still involved with the Jazz Festival. And so come on out and see Al Molina and Doc Jones and have a great afternoon. Who else has anything either announcing or anything they'd like to share?
I'll share that maybe I've said this before, but now that I'm Dave, I'm with Gallagher, which we're now the third or maybe soon to be second largest brokerage in the world in commercial insurance and benefits. And I just recently I was one of 50 to complete our first multinational academy. And it's interesting that Pat Gallagher, the CEO of our firm, had said that our strategy of growth is multinational, that our other two major competitors, we're training up people like me to be able to serve multinational clients. He sees that that's the growth path for us. And so kind of interesting to share that point of view from the property casualty brokerage world.
I will say in this last week,
interesting.
In this last week, 3 people from Gallagher on LinkedIn reached out to me and connected to me. So I figured there was something up, and probably you had said something or something was going on. So it might be random or it might be related to that. I don't know. There was one in Cincinnati, and there was one in Portland, and there was one, I think, in Southern California. So I thought it was just kind of fun. I was thinking of you.
Okay, cool. I'd love to know who the person in Southern California is offline.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Who else has anything?
Hey, Doug, this is Todd Medholm.
Tom.
Just wanted to bring up with all the tariff discussion, the recommendations that were given is just kind of go and pause, take a deep breath, wait it out a little bit, but you also need to prepare. So if anybody needs assistance with understanding the risk analysis for the raw materials and to relook at the sourcing options. That could be splitting up your supply where you just had one source in the past, but now you need multiple based off of the risk assessment. So I'd be happy to help anybody who would like to take a look at their risks.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Matt Weiss, you're not Farley Weiss's brother, are you? Are you there? I think you might be, but Jessica and Farley Weiss. Jessica's the world's best intellectual property attorney. Sorry, she's really amazing. And then also Farley is an intellectual property attorney. They're mostly in Florida, but they have an office in Scottsdale. So welcome if that is you. I think it might be. It's been a lot of years, but they're longtime members. I wanted to say hi to Gleams. Gleams is a Thunderbird student, I believe, and I think I'm going to meet you on Thursday at the event. So welcome. I look forward to learning more about what you're planning to do here in Arizona.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And then Sheng Kin is an attorney, and I know he knows Mike Patterson, and he speaks, I think, 6 languages, something crazy like that. I barely speak one. And so thank you for joining Global Chamber. It was great to speak with you and learn more, and I've enjoyed introducing you to a bunch of people, including the guy at Bryan Cave, George Chen. And I think I'm meeting George Chen later this afternoon. So, I mean, it's been a few years since I've spoken with him, and he's just a delightful fellow. So thank you, Chen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anything you'd like to share?
Well, I'm looking for opportunities to collaborate with anybody here. I do have a license in Arizona as well as Washington State. I have an LLM from ASU in international law, and that's part of the reason why I'm here. And as Doc introduced, I do speak 5 different languages, including Mandarin and Cantonese, and I've heard many great things about those regions earlier. If there's anybody here who has some kind of cases or collaborative opportunities I can share my expertise in, I'll welcome LinkedIn connections, whatsoever messages. Thank you.
Yeah, another person we connected you with is Catherine.
Yes.
Catherine Jiang, who I think some of you know. She also speaks multiple languages. She's traveling in Korea this week, and she's meeting with our team there. So that's the end of we're at the top of the hour, so we do need to go. Thank you. That was a lot of information. Sorry, it might have seemed too rushed, but I tried to get so that we could get almost everybody. Definitely, if you're in Phoenix, check out our meeting on Thursday from 3 to 5 with Greg Stanton. And those of you on the advisory board, we have a pre-meeting with Greg Stanton, a private meeting, and then he'll come out and make some public remarks. Great to see you all here today. Have a great rest of your Friday, this Good Friday. Have a wonderful Easter, and come back on Monday more global and unstoppable than ever. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Doug.
Bye, everyone.
Bye all.
Cheers. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Joanna.
Have a great weekend. That was Farley's brother that was on there, Doug.
Do you know
Yeah.
the Weisses?
Of course, I speak to Farley all the time, almost every day. We speak to him. Yep, he's in Florida. Yeah,
Okay.
all this stuff he's doing. Matter of fact, he's going to be playing for the Maccabi games at tennis for his age over the summer. Believe it or not. So it's all good stuff.
Amazing. Shabbat shalom.
Thank you. Shabbat shalom.